you want to make sure you retain your operational excellence as you scale. Each influencer is a unique human being, an individual that wants to feel like you care about them.
How do you scale an influencer marketing program to 8 figures? Hello and welcome to Growth Masterminds, the podcast for growth marketers. My name is John Couture. I think it's fair to say that influencer marketing has become pretty normalized right now. It's part of the growth landscape, especially in specific verticals, maybe beauty, health, fitness, retail, but it's growing everywhere. How do you scale it? To chat, we've got an influencer marketing expert. She has over a decade of experience. She's worked with over 1,000 creators. Ouch. She's built influencer programs for multiple mobile apps, including Fitness AI, Allstays, GeoZilla, and Hotspot Shield VPN. Her name is Yuliya Gorenko. She's a co-founder at Mishka Agencies, and we're going to chat with her about scaling influencer marketing as well as her top tips for 8 verticals. Welcome, Yulia.
Yeah, hi. I am so excited to be here. I'm genuinely a big fan of this podcast, and just being here feels surreal. I hope I'm going to do a good job.
It's the radio equivalent of long-time listener, first-time caller, right?
Yeah.
So awesome. Pumped to have you. Super, super, super cool. It's a very topical thing, and I'm looking forward to those top tips. We're going to do a rapid fire for that. That's going to be amazing. I think we'll start out with you first, though. How did you get into influencer marketing? I mean, you started like a decade ago. This was like, the wild, wild west. This was like the beginning, the genesis, the early phase. How did you get in?
I absolutely agree with the term Wild West. That's actually the term that I usually use to describe it. It was so unregulated, random, and absolutely wild. I actually got into the space kind of just out of curiosity. Back in the day, I used to run in-house brand marketing for L'Oreal. People might be familiar with that
Yeah, who
company.
knows L'Oreal? Nobody in
Yeah.
this tiny little company somewhere in, I don't know, Iowa or something. Right?
Yeah, it's a global company, beauty company based out of France. And yeah, I used to be running their in-house brand marketing. And I was in charge of all things digital, social, public relations. But back then, public relations used to be so traditional, as we, like to call them, where you would reach out to, traditional media like
Mhm.
print and TV and things like that. And I was just really young and curious, as I say, and I was witnessing this rapid development of social media personalities. And I was like, what if we can just send them some of our products as like a free, PR pack? We always used to send them out to traditional journalists. Why wouldn't we send them to somebody who can kind of post about them in real time, instead of waiting like 2 months till this editorial will finally be printed out. So it was actually very funny because when I approached my management back in the day with this idea, they were like, look, Yulia, you're already so freaking busy. Do you actually even want to deal with this? Like, how about you focus on those traditional media outlets? And I'm like, I'm okay. I'll work extra hours. I just want to do it.
Mhm.
So I started sending out those PR kits to influencers. It was completely, as I said, unregulated. You would just send them a gift bag. There's no like contract in place, no agreement that they should post something about it. It was like them genuinely being pleased to receive something from like a big brand name like L'Oreal and having this exclusive opportunities to unpack the product and be the first, to actually give it a try. So, of course, everybody was super excited to post about these products, and that's how I got started. And then later on, I left L'Oreal, and I was hired by a VPN company actually to help them build their influencer program from zero. They didn't have any influencer marketing going on. And I think this was the time when brands finally started to realize that this is a must have,
Hmm.
and it's a very strong growth engine. It's not just like a nice to have little PR awareness tactic. It can be a very strong growth instrument.
Very, very cool. Cool. So we're going to get into how to scale. We're going to get into measurement. We'll get into the top verticals and some of the tips there.
Mhm.
Maybe before we do that, how has the space changed since you started? I mean, it's obviously a little less wild, wild west. There's regulation around what people need
Mhm.
to do. There's a lot of contracts. There's a lot of platforms in place as well where
Mhm.
they'll scale for you. They'll find influencers in niches and stuff like that. What are some of the key changes that you've seen recently?
Mhm. Well, first, I would say there is definitely much more thought that goes into each brand influencer partnership these days than it used to be in the past. Um, every brand has a very well thought out strategy. Like, how do we choose the influencers that we're going to work with? How well they fit our brand profile,
Hmm.
etc. Marketers are becoming more and more savvy when it comes to selecting the influencers. It's not just about your reach anymore, it's about your real engagement. It's about the history maybe of your past brand partnerships. So I would say marketers spend more and more time vetting those creators that they want to partner with. And then of course, as we were just saying, influencer marketing used to be so unregulated. Now there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of like legal aspects that come into play. The contracts that I read sometimes are multi-page, and they specify every little.
Wow, where'd the fun go?
I know exactly. That's why I think sometimes. But it's fun when the content finally comes to life and you can actually see all your hard work kind of being published.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot more that goes into just facilitating one partnership, like from influencer selection to negotiating to how you structure the pricing. um Another aspect that I want to point out is that the term, there is like very popular term, creator economy.
Hmm.
Basically, there are so many other like financial aspects of this creator ecosystem now. For instance, we're witnessing, or maybe we have been witnessing for several years now, the rise of talent agencies who
Hmm.
manage creators only, right? Like
Hmm.
before, talent agencies used
And
to.
build them. There's like schools for this stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
like
yeah,
not a
yeah.
school per se, but pretty much.
Yeah. So as a brand now, you are not necessarily even talking to the creator directly. You might be dealing with a talent agency that is representing this creator. And you need to be ready that, there will be a markup for the creator's
Hmm.
services because, they're represented by an agency now. Um, so yeah, I think the space is so developed and evolved now, and there is just so much to navigate. As a marketer who maybe is only just getting started, I'm pretty sure it's a lot.
Well, it's interesting because I recently had on, it's an episode I think just published 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, in fact. I had the VP of e-commerce for GNC, and GNC is health and fitness related products.
Mhm.
And she previously led direct to consumer at Clorox. And she said, like, influencer is essential.
Yeah.
Influencer, it's not a if, it's a how, for her. And so that's the case in a lot of spaces like the retail and maybe the fitness and health and beauty and other places like that as well. It's not so much that the case yet in like gaming, but we're seeing it grow and we're seeing it become a big deal. And we'll talk about that as well. So you scaled to 8 figures. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Mhm. Um, I know it might sound intimidating,
It
but
sounds
to be honest,
intimidating. Yes.
yeah. So, what it means is that on a daily basis, we work with hundreds of creators, and it's a lot that goes into it. But you always start from zero, and I'll be honest with my agency client that we kind of built and scaled this program with. They started from zero. They started from kind of randomly working with one or two creators that
Mm-hmm.
actually um, used to be the like already paying customers of the brand. So it was like a very natural fit that, oh, if they are an influencer who is already using our product, why wouldn't they talk about us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the brand did a few like small tests like that, and they saw, amazing results, amazing return right away from just those few influencer mentions. And they realized that they want to scale this program. I would say when it comes to scaling, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, you want to make sure you retain your operational excellence as you scale. Each influencer is a unique human being, an individual that wants to feel like you care about them, that
Mm-hmm.
their requests are being processed in a timely manner, that they're provided with like full onboarding information about your product, your creative expectations, etc. And now imagine when you're talking to hundreds of influencers, you need to be ready to invest in resources, like in people on your team, or maybe an agency who would properly manage each of these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this: influencers, um, they actually want to feel special. They want to be treated with respect and like special care when it comes to those brand relationships. So, like, not responding to them for like too long, or just not providing them with like proper, briefing information, etc. Um, this can be devastating to your influencer
Mm-hmm.
program. So I would say when it comes to scaling, the first thing you need to keep in mind is the resources, like who is going to be doing all this super labor intensive, work on a daily basis.
So it's not as
Um,
easy as throwing money at it.
Oh no, that's the huge difference between, influencer marketing and any other marketing tactic where you can just up the budget, press a button. I mean, obviously I'm oversimplifying it, but of course we do use platforms that help us kind of streamline our operations and manage these conversations all in one place to track like the
Mm-hmm.
status of each publication, etc. Yeah, there is software that definitely can help you optimize your operations, but still there needs to be this human management element because you're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with another human, on the other end of
Mm-hmm.
this transaction.
It's interesting. It occurs to me that, I mean, yes, you can scale spend in a lot of different channels. And let's just talk about, let's say, in app advertising, right? You can scale that and everything. But at a certain point, you can scale it, but you might be saturating the channel, right?
Hmm.
And how do you think about saturating a channel like influencer marketing?
hmm That's a great question. So there are a few things. First, there is a variety of social platforms that you can experiment with. If you watch YouTube regularly, you will see that every video you watch is sponsored by a brand. So, if you've already built a robust program on YouTube and you feel like you're maybe reaching a certain like limit or ceiling with the creator pool on this platform, how about you go and work with podcasters or
Mm-hmm.
TikTokers or creators on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram? There are so many other platforms, and they all convert. Believe me, from my hands-on experience, I can tell you that all these platforms work great organically. Um, so I think this is one of the things to keep in mind. Another element or another tactic that I want to mention here when it comes to scaling is a lot of brands think of um, the most affinitive creators in the first place. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very good approach when you're just getting started. Like, for instance, you're a fitness app. So maybe you want to get started with creators who are known for their, fitness content, and that's all they post about. But at the same time, this space, the fitness creator space, might be already so cluttered with other fitness apps, training programs, supplements, you name it,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you want to kind of think outside of this fitness box and go and explore some other creator categories. For example, lifestyle, or maybe your
Mm-hmm.
product works really well for young mothers who want to like go back, get back in
I
shape.
was just going to
Just
say
as an
that. I was going to say,
example.
like, go to the mummy bloggers or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Or the podcasters or whatever. I mean, everybody needs to be fit, right? And if you can find like
Mhm.
a complementary category, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this would be the right approach when thinking about scaling. Like, how do you scale beyond your like primary category and tap into various customer groups?
Interesting. Super interesting. Cool. So you've said a couple times, hey, this pays off, this works, this is effective. What's
Mhm,
your key measurement criteria here? What are you doing? Are you giving people codes? Are you giving people links? Are you just looking
mhm,
at overall lift? Are you looking at incrementality? How are you measuring impact of influencer
mhm.
marketing programs?
We like to joke with my team that we have like a curse and a blessing two in one, that we are a performance focused agency.
Yeah.
So most of our clients are very performance oriented. In the past, I used to work with brands who, when they think about influencers, for them it's an awareness first tactic, and I love this
Exactly.
kind of campaigns.
Those
I'm not
happy
gonna
gum
lie.
days.
Exactly. You can just say, "Hey, we reached 1 million people with this
It's
video."
amazing.
And
Yay. Have some champagne.
exactly, and pat yourself on the back and, you're
Yep.
done. Um, but I know that this podcast is mostly listened by performance marketers, and yes, we are a performance
Hardcore
agency.
numbers. No.
Exactly. Um So yeah, the primary metrics that we focus on, or like the tools that we use to measure performance are, yes, you provide each influencer with the unique URL. Ideally, you need to have a certain special offer to kind of drive
Mhm.
this sense of urgency, and get a free trial or a discount, etc. And then with those unique URLs and coupon codes, you can actually measure performance.
Mhm.
Another very interesting uh, tactic that one of our brand clients is using is they have a questionnaire for people who sign up for their service. How did you hear about us? And
Right.
a
Right.
customer can type in anything they want, really.
Yep. Yep.
And this is a very strong way to capture where these people heard about you, because we do a lot of influencer partnerships on podcasts. And
Mhm.
as you might
Mhm.
guess, this is not the most like clickable
Mhm.
format,
Exactly.
right? You can be on a walk, listen to that podcast or whatever, or you can be driving a car and listening to this podcast. So you won't necessarily be clicking that URL right away,
No, no,
but you
no. The
heard about
QR
this
code doesn't
service.
work for some reason on audio. I don't know what the heck.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, basically, like the person might have heard about you, right? And if you're not using pixel-based attribution, this way of introducing this questionnaire would be a very good idea to attribute that conversion to that podcast listenership, because they can say exactly where they heard your brand name.
Yep, yep, yep. And also, it's interesting because you can generalize a little bit. You can say influencer, right? And they can attribute the revenue to that category rather
Yeah,
than a specific. You
exactly.
of course want specifics where you can get it, but you're
Mhm,
not going to capture everything from any one methodology, right? You give people a link. Well, some people will go check link in bio and check that and click on it. Others will just do a
mhm,
Google search, right? And so you've
mhm,
got to have a multiplier for whatever methodology you use, and you got to look at a lift study in general, right? And so I'm sure marketers in general have a lot of familiarity with that. I love what you said about just asking people, right? It's the
mhm,
simplest thing in the world. It's on your own platform. You can do it. If you design it well, somebody can do it in like 3 or 4 seconds. It doesn't take up a ton of time. And I've talked to some of the best, hardest core performance marketers you can imagine who do programmatic marketing and super high level, and they still do stuff like this, which is like as ancient as people did this 100 years ago, right? How did you hear about
Mhm.
us, right?
Mhm.
And they still do it today. And that's super valuable information. Very cool. Anything else on scaling or measurement before we go into our rapid fire 8 key verticals?
I mean, probably the last thing I want to mention when it comes to scaling, I love to say that, influencer marketing is a very strong performance tactic. It works, right? It's proven by so many brands. You see them spending 7, 8 figures a month just on this influencer channel alone, which means that they're probably seeing some good return from this channel. So I
Or
don't
they're
think I
printing
still
money somewhere.
that's right. But so I don't think I still need to like prove it to people that yes, you should consider investing in this channel. At the same time, something that I want to kind of make sure everybody is aware of is when it comes to scaling, not every influencer test will be successful and you have to be ready for it. And the tricky part when it comes to influencer marketing is that your tests potentially can have a higher entry cost compared
Hmm.
to running a new creative on
Hmm.
social, for
Hmm.
example.
Hmm.
Where you can test maybe at $50 a day and see how it
Right,
performs.
right. Get 1,000 impressions and see what happens here, or maybe even 5,000 impressions or something like that,
Exactly.
right?
When you're
Exactly. But
scaling an influencer campaign and you're making those hypotheses, like, for example, this new influencer category would be something that, we want to test out. Be ready that when you test those 10 new influencers, 3 or even 5 might not drive you the results that you want. So you need to
hmm,
have this mindset of like, yes, we are looking at this program as like a larger thing where we
hmm,
are thinking about the results overall. Like some influencers will outperform all your wildest expectations, some won't perform that well. So you need to be
yeah.
ready to fail all the time to make those learnings and scale further.
Which is exactly the case with any other form of marketing. If you're doing
Mhm.
programmatic or you're doing in-app advertising or something like that, or on Meta or on Google, some of your campaigns will kill it and some will totally fail. And it's a matter of optimization, right? And chasing the ones that work and optimizing. Okay, cool. Makes ton of sense. That's awesome. I want to do a rapid fire top tips for 8 key verticals. So I'll say the vertical, you
Mhm.
spit out a top tip, and we'll start with beauty.
Okay, I can talk an hour about beauty.
I know, but we don't have that long.
As you guys already know, I am an ex L'Orealista, as we
I
like to
know,
call
I know.
ourselves. But my quick tip would be when it comes to beauty, working with influencers means creating experiences. So you want to invest in hosting some exclusive events with absolutely mind blowing, decor and opportunities. And this creates the real buzz when it comes to beauty. And I know I'm supposed to be giving you a quick tip, but can I just say a few more
Yes, you
things?
may.
um, Another thing is be diverse. Like and it applies to this beauty category as a whole, right? We remember 20 years ago, all models looked kind of the same, right? They used to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the
Tall,
same
skinny,
type.
white.
Exactly. Exactly. And now, be relatable, be real. When it comes to beauty,
Hmm.
you don't want to
I'm
have a
applying.
creator.
I'm applying. Pick me.
No,
Nope.
no, seriously, right? Like you want to have diverse personalities in diverse age
Body
groups
types,
and
ages,
exactly.
exactly.
So this
Racial
would be my
makeup.
biggest type for biggest tip for beauty brands. Be diverse when it comes to influencer
Love it.
selection.
Love it. Love it. Okay, fitness and health. I bet you that diversity tip applies to that one too, but I'll not put words into your mouth. Fitness and health.
Well, I mean, diversity would apply to probably every category,
Yes.
but when thinking about the fitness and health industry specifically, I would suggest treating an influencer partnership um, more as of a relationship where you want to turn this specific influencer in a brand ambassador rather than thinking about a one-off campaign.
Mm,
The reason why you want to do that is um, think about anything fitness or wellness, it has to be a routine.
Yes. Over
In
time.
order to get in shape, you need to
Hmm.
do something every single day.
Yeah.
So it feels much more authentic and realistic when an influencer actually turns your product or app in a part of their routine. They
Yes.
they show that they actually use it every day or every week. They post about it all the time, rather
Hmm.
than you just did one random video and maybe it didn't work right away and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
influencer marketing doesn't work for our brand at all,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Love
actually
that.
an example that I want to give here is probably everybody heard of AG1, the supplement, the green powder
Yeah.
thing.
Fitness
You
greens
know
or something
how
like that. Is that the one? I think so. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a healthy green drink,
Hmm. Athletic
so
greens. That's what it is. AG.
exactly,
Athletic greens.
exactly.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I've
So as an
almost bought
example,
that.
oh, don't. Okay, I should say that. Oh my god.
You're a de-influencer is what you are.
Right. Well, what I was trying to say is that a huge part of their success is partnering with the right ambassadors. For example, Andrew Huberman, one of the biggest, most trusted experts when it comes to improving your
Hmm.
health and becoming a better, more successful, more healthy person. He talks about them regularly, and he says that he actually been using them for a while. He consistently talks about them, so people know, oh, AG1, Andrew Huberman. So I think for fitness and health brands, these are the connections that you want to build,
Sure.
and it takes
Sure.
time.
I love that. Cool. Tech and gadgets.
Mhm. This one would be quick. I would say you want to make sure that your product actually does what you claim it does.
Come on. Such a high bar.
Right? When it comes to influencers in this space, from my experience, they are very picky and they
Hmm.
actually they care about their reputation in the first place. They will test the hell out of your product. And
Hmm.
if they don't like it, you might actually end up with a bad review. So think twice before reaching out to, a
Yep.
creator in this
Yep.
space. Make sure your
Yep.
product is great. And then work with
There goes my
influencers.
growth plan with that crappy gadget that I bought. Okay, no worries. Travel and hospitality.
I think I will give a very practical tip here. When I think about travel and hospitality, I think about, maybe you are a hotel or a travel company. So the way that you would collaborate with an influencer, you would probably provide a certain experience to them, right? Let's say you're a
Hmm.
hotel, so you're
Hmm.
gonna fly them out. You will have them stay at your hotel, test out all the amenities, create content about it. And I'm gonna give you a real story. I'm not gonna say names. Um, but I know a very well known hotel chain that flew out mid sized influencers, not even like celebrity level whatsoever,
Hmm.
for a few days to their wonderful location to, experience all the great things about this
Hmm.
hotel.
Hmm.
And they paid them like $80,000, which to me, I am sorry, does not make sense
Hmm.
because if it was somebody like a celebrity influencer, yes, you probably would have to
Hmm.
pay six figures for something like that. When it comes to like a smaller, almost like a no-name local
Hmm.
creator on
Hmm.
Instagram, come on, like you are giving them already so much value as a brand. You yes, it's work for them. They have to maybe like
Hmm.
leave their
Hmm.
family and travel, and it's not
Hmm.
vacation. They still need to create content while they're there, but you're already providing them so much value, right? Maybe you can
Hmm.
offer them like a discount for their whole family or something else. Just think about the price that you're offering in this specific vertical. I think you have a lot of room for like negotiation the rates with creators
Cool.
because you're providing value as a brand.
Cool. Hey, it's good work if you can get it. I want that $80,000 and the vacation. No worries. I'm up for that. Cool. A big one, gaming. Mm.
When it comes to gaming, I think um, I actually, before joining Mishka, I used to work for an influencer marketing agency that specializes in gaming only. So I definitely have a lot of experience in this space. I think for gaming brands, the number one strategy would be to think about community,
Hmm.
and how you can work with influencers to further grow this, community feel around your game, rather just using it again as like a one-off
Hmm.
little
Hmm.
plug. So
Hmm.
think about communities.
Cool. You might like, as part of that program, you might like sponsor or have an in-app event, like a tournament or something like that, and
Mhm,
offer and bring in some of these influencers to participate in the tournament and also hype it up and stuff like that. That could be pretty cool.
mhm,
Parenting and family.
mhm. Do you want to give me like an example of a brand you're thinking? Maybe not the brand itself, but more like a product category.
Oh, I'm struggling here because like my wife would be the one who would handle anything in this
Uh-huh.
category. So but I actually have talked to some of these people in the past. There's somebody who's building an app that I know that is intended to kind of manage kids' access to technology, what they can
Oh,
use, when
yeah.
they can use it, what apps they can use, who they can contact, all that stuff.
Yep.
So it's like a hardcore management thing that kids will hate and some parents will love, right?
Mhm.
But so that's an example, right?
I
In
am very
parenting and
familiar
family.
with this particular space, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a growing space, by the way. But actually, this exactly going to make my point stronger. Like this example that you gave about what kids can access, etc. When it comes to marketing, parenting, and maybe some kids products or services or apps, um, you want to be extra careful when selecting the influencers you work with.
Yes.
There is a growing concern of children. It's a strong word, but sort of being exploited
Mhm.
by those parenting influencers. You know how posting about their
Right.
kids. This is a very concerning issue,
Mhm.
where there are certain advocates in the space saying that kids maybe never gave consent to be filmed,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, but their parents are just using them for content likes and engagement.
And some of
um,
those have ended very tragically.
exactly, we all heard those stories, right? So if you are in this space, be ethical in the first place and select influencers who are promoting the right values as
Mhm.
parents.
Mhm. Cool. Interesting. What about fintech, financial services?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna continue here, talking about the importance of influencer vetting. I think when it comes to personal finance, again, it's such a sensitive topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And I didn't even say crypto.
um, I think you want to be extra careful with like doing a background check on the influencers that you are evaluating for your campaign, and trying to understand like what type of financial behaviors or advice they're promoting.
Mhm.
I personally prefer and recommend to stay away from like get rich quick type of content.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you are a reputable, trusted financial service, you probably want to work with somebody who has some credential in this space and provides um, a more I don't know, thought of,
Yeah, healthy.
uh, healthy, yeah, advice
Yeah.
rather than just somebody who, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you how to make $1,000,000 right
Mhm.
now," through
Mhm.
some weird
Mhm.
weird
Mhm.
scam.
Makes 100% sense. Okay, final category, 8th vertical,
Mhm,
entertainment and media, which of course is massive these days. I mean, we think about streaming services and stuff like that, right? So, what is your top tip for this area?
mhm. I think, this can be a very fun category, to work in, and I think, storytelling will be key for this one. So, maybe you are a certain streaming platform or a movie producer. you are going to work with influencers to promote this upcoming release. You can be so creative. You can
Mm-hmm.
tease
Mm-hmm.
the release. You can hire creators um, who who are maybe even in certain ways align with like the content of the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
movie, and
Mm-hmm.
they will promote
Mm-hmm.
it very very organically. So I think for this category, storytelling and like the creative part is
That could be super cool. I mean, like think about your streaming service, maybe your Netflix or Disney Plus or something like that, right? And you bring in some influencers for your premiere of a new show that you're launching on your own network or something like that, and then they can talk about it. They can stream from the great location. They can walk in on the red carpet, right? And you get their picture taken by
Mhm.
paparazzis that you hire for the purpose, right? And all that stuff could be super cool. Awesome. This has been very cool. This has been a lot of fun. This time has gone very, very quickly. Yulia, I want to thank you for taking this time and sharing a lot of the insights that you've learned building creator programs, influencer programs. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Such a big honor.